Okay, we're on record. Paul, thank you so much for your time on Sky Sports News. I'm going to take you back to the 3rd of May 2014, Exeter City away at Hartlepool in League Two. And in the 77th minute, you brought on a youngster for his league debut for Exeter by the name of Ollie Watkins. What do you remember about that moment?
I recall it being the last game of the season, and it was a great opportunity to give a first appearance to a young, talented player through the academy, like we had done so many times before. A young player that deserved an opportunity.
If someone had said to you at that very moment when you're preparing the substitute that this player would go on not only be an incredible player for Exeter City, but go on and play in the Premier League, score goals at the top level, and then go on to become an England international and be selected by Gareth Southgate, what would you have said?
I think at that moment, I would have said there's a lot more to be done before that's likely. But I have to say, I mean, I think those things are more possible than most people would give credit for. And I think, a player playing in a League Two match maybe seems too far away from the scenario you've just illustrated. But there was a young player there who had the physical and technical capabilities to rise right to the top of the game. What will ultimately dictate whether a player can do that or not is his personality and his ability to apply instruction and do a job for a team. But that was a young player at that moment who had the physical and technical potential, and he's taken it, and he's progressed in the last 6 years immeasurably.
How proud are you to see a young player that was in that Exeter City Academy that you gave an opportunity to now go on and be so fruitful in the top flight, and also get this huge opportunity ahead of the European Championships this summer? How proud are you?
I'm incredibly proud, but I'm that should be balanced with the achievement of the club. It's wonderful for Ollie. I'm delighted for him. He thoroughly deserves it. There's a young man there with an amazing attitude, but a wonderful personality who listens, and he's a dream team player. He really is. But that's not just Ollie's achievement. It's the achievement of Exeter City, the academy. So many people would have contributed towards that. Ultimately, it's Ollie himself that's created that opportunity for himself. But there's been coaches, family, managers, other players that have played alongside him that has done a wonderful job in balancing his talent. So many people contribute in the career of a player, and I think everyone should be proud. But Ollie, of all, should be most proud because he's taken his talent, he's applied it in the right way, and as I said, he's a dream team player. It's not just having the ability, which he has, but it's being able to listen, it's being able to function as part of a team. And what Ollie is incredibly versatile. He's able to be part of a football team. He's able to play in a team that's defending. He can defend from the front. His work rate is second to none. And there's a player there who doesn't rely on a system in order to be a good player. He applies himself. He commits to whatever you ask him to do. And he's selectable. And we've seen every level he's played in, he has become selectable, and he's become a fundamental part of that team. And I hope he can do that for England.
How exciting would it be for you personally to be able to watch this summer's European Championships, and potentially, depending on how he gets on, of course, and what happens between now and the end of the season, but see a player that you've worked with come on one of the biggest stage in world football?
Yeah, if I was speaking to him now, I'd be saying, like I always have done in the past, one step at a time. First thing you've got to do is join up with a squad and present yourself on that training pitch in the correct way, because before you can put a performance in the match, you have to go and introduce yourself to that stage with the players in training. And that's all part of the process. It's not just the 90 minutes you see, or 13, 14 minutes of Hartlepool that you see a player. It's how he presents himself and the way that he mixes and becomes part of the team off the pitch. So that's his first step. And who knows, you just don't know what can happen. So every minute you always as a player need to be ready for what happens next, the next ball, the next run, the next match, the next training session, and I'm sure Ollie will be taking it in the right way. He's a very balanced, considered individual, and I expect he'll do his very, very best.
What do you remember about him in training and the type of character he was, and those early days where he was scoring goals in the Football League for you and being so pivotal to Exeter City?
Well, I can remember those days because he scored a shed loads of goals for Exeter before he moved on to Brentford. But I think the pivotal point in his development was before that, before he got in the team, because he was a very talented player through the academy. I mean, I knew him for sort of 10 years, from the age of sort of 10 to 20, as he was coming through the academy. He was always spoke highly of. But there's one thing being a potential player to actually someone that can win the trust of a manager and go and do the job on a match day, because it's not just about football. It's about, as I just said, trust. It's about doing the right thing at the right time, being good in all aspects of the game. And the one thing that was pivotal for Ollie was understanding how to make himself selectable. He had, it's fair to say his first couple of years as a professional were difficult. He didn't find that process easy to begin with. He was a very talented player that couldn't turn that into a performance that would be acceptable. Rain, sunshine, wind, up the hill, down the hill, winning, losing. He had to find his way of becoming selectable in all circumstances. And he became a team player. He became a sort of player that you would, if you went into a game and you knew you had to defend from the front and it was a game of hard work, you'd pick him. If it was a game of we need to score a goal, you'd pick him. If it was a game of this is going to be a very fluid game and you need someone who could carry the ball, you'd select him. If it was a game of creating a chance, you'd select him. And that's the type of player that he's become. He's indispensable to the teams he plays in. He's now indispensable to Aston Villa. They're winning, he stays on the field. They need a goal, he stays on the field. And that's Ollie Watkins. So I think everyone will easily identify with the physical and the technical part of his game. But I think the bit that's made the difference is his ability to apply himself to any circumstance and be indispensable for any team. And I just hope he can go and do that for Gareth's side in the England team.
That's brilliant. Right, I'm going to stop there. Otherwise, I'll talk